Fans didn't expect the shift to come from inside Sam Heughan's own family. When a quiet remark from Sam Heughan's mother began circulating, disbelief spread fast across fan communities. It wasn't dramatic, emotional, or confrontational, which made it even more unsettling. The shock came from how ordinary the comment sounded, as if it revealed something that had never felt controversial at home. For years, Sam Heughan's personal life has been surrounded by speculation, but rarely by confirmation. He has consistently kept family members out of the spotlight, and his mother in particular has remained almost entirely private. That long-standing silence gave her words unexpected weight. When someone who avoids attention speaks at all, people listen differently. According to those who heard the remark firsthand, it was not delivered as a revelation. There was no build-up, no sense of secrecy, and no attempt to steer the conversation toward gossip. It came across as a natural observation, offered without hesitation. That tone is what caused so much reaction afterward. The subject of the comment was Sam's on-screen and off-screen chemistry with Dakota Johnson. Chemistry is a word fans have used endlessly, often projecting meaning onto interviews, glances, or shared appearances. Coming from a parent, however, the word carries a different implication. It suggests familiarity rather than fantasy. What startled many listeners was the way Sam's mother reportedly framed it. She did not praise or exaggerate, nor did she romanticize the connection. Instead, she described it as something that felt easy and unforced. That distinction mattered, because it stripped away the performative aspect fans often debate. Family members see sides of public figures that cameras never capture. They observe patterns, comfort levels, and changes in behavior without filters. When Sam's mother spoke about chemistry, it sounded less like commentary and more like recognition. That subtlety is what made the remark feel so credible to many. Almost immediately, fans began re-examining past moments with new perspective. Interviews once dismissed as playful were replayed. Casual interactions that seemed insignificant suddenly felt more telling. The shift wasn't driven by new evidence, but by a new lens through which old material was viewed. What amplified the reaction was the absence of clarification. Sam Heughan did not step in to contextualize or soften the interpretation. That silence left room for speculation to grow unchecked. In situations involving family, silence is rarely neutral. Some fans argued that the comment was being overanalyzed. They pointed out that parents often speak casually about their children's colleagues without intending deeper meaning. From that angle, the shock felt misplaced, a product of heightened sensitivity rather than substance. Yet even those voices acknowledged how unusual it was to hear anything at all. Others focused on Dakota Johnson's position in the conversation. Being mentioned by a parent places someone in a more intimate frame than a co-star or friend. It suggests familiarity beyond professional obligation. That alone was enough to unsettle established assumptions. The credibility of the remark also stemmed from what it did not do. It did not confirm a relationship, hint at romance, or suggest intention. Instead, it acknowledged something present and observable without labeling it. That restraint made it harder to dismiss as exaggeration. Industry observers note that family commentary often carries unintended consequences. Even harmless observations can ripple outward when attached to famous names. Once fans believe a parent has noticed something, the narrative shifts dramatically. The line between rumor and reality becomes harder to draw. As discussion intensified, one thing became clear. The shock was not about scandal, but about access. Fans were reacting to the idea that someone close to Sam Heughan sees a version of events they never will. That realization disrupted the sense of familiarity audiences often feel. By the end of the day, the remark had taken on a life of its own. It was quoted, dissected, and debated far beyond its original context. Whether intended or not, it changed how many fans viewed Sam Heughan's dynamic with Dakota Johnson. And it did so without a single dramatic claim. What lingers now is uncertainty rather than conclusion. A simple, unguarded observation has reopened a conversation many believed was settled. When insight comes from family rather than headlines, it feels harder to ignore. That is why this moment continues to resonate, even as everyone waits to see whether Sam chooses to address it at all. The conversation did not fade after the initial shock, it intensified. Fans began debating not just what Sam Heughan's mother said, but what her words implied about proximity and trust. Family observations are rarely filtered for public consumption, which is why they often feel more honest than curated statements. That perceived honesty made it difficult for audiences to simply dismiss the comment as casual. As speculation grew, attention returned to Sam Heughan himself. His silence, in this context, carried unusual weight. Speaking could clarify the intent behind his mother's remark, but it could also risk overcorrecting something that may not need correction. Remaining quiet, however, allowed others to define the meaning in his place. For some fans, the situation created an emotional dilemma. A parent's perspective feels intimate, even when shared lightly, and that intimacy can feel like access. People began to question whether they had misunderstood the nature of Sam's dynamic with Dakota Johnson all along. The realization that family may see something fans never noticed was unsettling. Others urged caution, pointing out how easily meaning can be projected onto limited information. Parents often describe comfort and ease without attaching romantic significance. From that angle, the shock said more about audience expectation than reality. Yet even those voices struggled to ignore the context in which the remark appeared. What complicates matters is how rarely Sam's family enters public discourse at all. The absence of precedent makes interpretation difficult. When something happens for the first time, there is no baseline for comparison. That novelty alone can magnify impact. Industry observers note that family commentary often creates unintended narratives. Even when remarks are neutral, audiences tend to treat them as confirmation rather than observation. This is especially true when the topic involves chemistry, a concept already loaded with fan speculation. The word itself invites interpretation. As days passed, the focus shifted from the remark to its consequences. Online discussions became more reflective, asking why this moment resonated so strongly. Many concluded it challenged the illusion of familiarity fans often feel toward public figures. Seeing a glimpse of private perception can disrupt that illusion quickly. For Dakota Johnson, the situation introduced a different kind of attention. Being referenced by a parent places someone outside the usual professional frame. It suggests comfort within personal spaces rather than public ones. That subtle repositioning changed how some audiences perceived her role entirely. At the same time, there was no escalation from any side. No follow-up statements, no corrections, no attempts to steer the narrative. That restraint may indicate a desire to let the moment pass without solidifying it into something larger. In celebrity culture, inaction can be a form of containment. Still, the remark left a trace. Fans began noticing how often family insights alter narratives, even unintentionally. A single sentence can reframe years of speculation without providing answers. That ambiguity is precisely what keeps the conversation alive. For Sam Heughan, the choice now is not about addressing a rumor, but about managing perception. Responding could validate the importance of the comment, while ignoring it may allow interest to fade naturally. Both paths carry risk, and neither guarantees resolution. Control, in this case, may lie in patience rather than explanation. As attention slowly levels out, the moment stands as a reminder of how fragile public narratives can be. They are built on fragments, interpretations, and assumptions that can shift with one unexpected voice. When that voice belongs to family, the shift feels more profound. In the end, the shock was never about confirmation. It was about perspective. A parent's casual observation exposed the distance between public assumption and private experience. That gap, once revealed, cannot easily be closed. Whether the story moves forward or fades, that awareness remains, reshaping how fans interpret what they think they know.